Good afternoon and welcome to Pittsburgh City Council's public hearing for Tuesday, October 18th, 2022, relative to Bill 2022-0698. Will the clerk please read the title of the bill?
Bill 698, a resolution providing for the designation as an historic district under Title 11 of the Code of Ordinances, the certain properties known as the Murray Hill Historic District Expansion located at 1163 Murray Hill Avenue and 1165 Murray Hill Avenue in Squirrel Hill in the 14th Ward, City of Pittsburgh. The owners of 1165 Murray Hill Avenue support this nomination.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And for the record, we are joined today by our council members who will be joining us shortly. Our first order of business will be an introduction and comments by Sarah Quinn from the Department of City Planning. Ms. Quinn, would you like to join us? And following that, we'll have testimony from our registered speakers.
Thank you. My name's Sarah Quinn. I'm the Preservation Planner for the City of Pittsburgh, and I'll make my presentation brief today. These 1163 and 1165 Murray Hill are side-by-side houses, and they're both 3 bays wide, 3-story brick residential structures of the colonial revival style. They were built at approximately 1900. They are remnants of a longer streetscape that stretched down the eastern side of the street, which included 5 additional houses, which were demolished in 1969 to create the Jenny King Mellon Library. These 2 remaining structures are all that remains. Murray Hill Avenue takes its name from an early Squirrel Hill estate owned by James B. Murray, partner in Lion, Shorb and Company, an iron mill on Pittsburgh's South Side. He was president of the Exchange National Bank in downtown Pittsburgh. In 1864, Murray purchased the land that would later develop into Murray Hill Avenue from John McFarland, a prominent landowner in the East End. In July 1889, Lorenzo T. Yoder purchased the entire Murray Hill property from Annie S. Murray, the widow of James B. Murray. In 1890, the land was subdivided into residential lots known as the Artishiel Terrace Plan of Lots and became one of the first residential streets to be developed in Squirrel Hill. As one of the first quote-unquote streetcar suburbs in Pittsburgh's East End, Murray Hill was highly valued for its country-like atmosphere, yet its proximity to the city's amenities. Throughout its history, Murray Hill has been home to a number of nationally famous individuals, including Pulitzer Prize-winning author Willa Cather, U.S. Surgeon General Thomas Perrin, who served that role from 1936 to 1948, and nationally recognized artists Henry Kerner, as well as Harry Holland. The Murray Hill Historic District was created in the year 2000, and both the Historic Review Commission and the City Planning Commission have provided a positive recommendation to City Council for these 2 properties. It turns out there was a clerical error in the original legislation, and these 2 properties were left off, although they were considered to be part of the historic district at the time. So we're here today to sort of make that correction and formally recognize these 2 properties. And as I said, the Historic Review Commission, as of note, felt that these properties were significant as a part of a pattern of neighborhood development as part of the Artishiel subdivision in early Squirrel Hill development. So that is what I have for you today. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now move to testimony from registered speakers. Please give your name when I call you, an address for the public record. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address council. If you're here in person, you'll hear a tone when your 3 minutes are up. If you are joining via Zoom, your microphone will be cut off after 3 minutes. Our first registered speaker is Daniel Holland.
Hello, and thank you. I'm just going to read some comments on the text of my letter, which is addressed to the council president, but obviously I will address these to Councilwoman Strasburger. We were just talking earlier about how when we started this process back in 1999 to nominate it to be a historic district, it was quite contentious. There was a lot of dissent from the neighbors and from Chatham and other parties. And thanks to your predecessor, Dan Cohen, and Bill Peduto, who was chief of staff at the time, we negotiated what we think is a solid district. But as was Sarah explained, 2 houses were inadvertently left out of that district. These are the ones closest to the Chatham parking lot. So in our discussions with Chatham, as we began debating their new master planning process, we discovered that we should probably nominate these or renominate these to be part of the historic district, and that's where we are today. Just by way of background, I live at 127 Roop Avenue in Friendship. I grew up across the street from these houses at 1140 Murray Hill, where my mother lives today. So I'm there pretty regularly. Usually she's asking me to clean out the gutters or take out the trash. But regardless, I do other things too during the week. I also teach history at Duquesne and University of Pittsburgh. But I thought this is an important nomination in that we need to recognize and re-recognize and keep it front and center the history of this unique street and the importance that it holds in historic districts really around the city. There's not too many that are in the East End, and certainly very few, if any, that are in Squirrel Hill. So I think this was one of the first ones in Squirrel Hill, and certainly one of the only remaining ones. I realize I only have a few moments left, but I just want to say, these 2 houses in particular could stand alone as historic properties. They represent the colonial revival style, which was extremely prevalent in the early 20th century. Unfortunately, there's not too many left, and those which are left are actually in pretty good condition. But I think, it's important to recognize and reestablish the value that these properties, the historic district brings, not just in terms of economic benefits, but the pride people feel and the unity. I'm happy to report that the entire street is unified around this historic nomination, as is Chatham, which owns one of the properties, and one of the other property owners. So I just want to say thank you for your leadership, for Sarah's leadership, and I will submit this letter to council. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next registered speaker is Vanessa Spiro.
Hi, thank you. My name is Vanessa Spiro. I live on Murray Hill Avenue at 1180 Murray Hill Avenue. As many of you know, the street has a unique history and character. It is still a beautiful cobblestone street the way it was when it was first built, and it receives really national recognition in travel publications and otherwise on stories about Pittsburgh's neighborhood due to its historical features and natural beauty. I came here today really to express all our appreciation to Daniel Holland for all the work that he has done to resubmitting this proposal, which, as has been noted several times, 1163 and 1165 were not made part of the historic district only due to a clerical error 22 years ago. And Daniel has kept up the work, and also at no small expense, to present this again today. And I think we just wanted to express our gratitude to him for being such a good neighbor. Thank you.
Thank you. Having exhausted our registered speakers list, I'd like to call on anyone who has not registered who would like to offer comment.
Good afternoon. My name is Yvonne Ed Brown. I live at 715 Mercer Street, which is the high rise up at the top of Bedford. I don't live in Squirrel Hill, but I used to frequent there quite a bit when I had my car. I would go beautiful stores, and the meat, even in the Giant Eagle and different, the meat is beautiful. I know what good meat look like. And a lot of times when we had our shop and save up here in the Hill District, they were bringing us old meat that was different colors. Okay, I agree with these people. Actually, even the man that said his mother still lives in one of the buildings that they had from years ago. I believe that it should be historically preserved. If we have a city as nice as Squirrel Hill, and it is a very nice city, it should be kept the way that it was. And if it was a clerical error on, I don't know whose part it was, it should be corrected, and it should be re-examined and put back in if you possibly could. So I wanted to say to everyone, I come down because I believe that in the community, all communities, we should be able to bring some kind of input if we feel that we can help, or even if we disagree. You don't know what you don't know. Now, I never knew about these two houses, and I did learn something today. And they know, so they've come down, and please listen to the people that live in that community. I don't live there, but they are in favor of it, and I think you should pass it. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Is there anyone else who wishes to address council? Anyone else who wishes to address council? All right, well, having exhausted our registered speakers and our non-registered speakers list, I'll just say that I'm grateful as well to those who spoke today, those who shared their support with me from Murray Hill Avenue, and as Ms. Spiro said, particularly Daniel Holland for his support, for his work and effort, and advocating for this historic district for more than 20 years, righting a wrong, a clerical error, as we heard from 22 years ago, and also to Sarah Quinn for her work and advocacy for this completion of the historic district and righting the wrong from several years ago. And so I look forward to seeing this up on the agenda again, ideally tomorrow if that's at all possible, if not the following Wednesday, but I think we'll have it up at the standing committee agenda tomorrow, and hopefully a positive recommendation from council and moving on to final recommendation, final vote from council after that. So having exhausted the business of this public hearing, I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Bye.